Hey everybody, Laurent here from MadX Capital. Just wanted to do a very quick video on letter of intents. So for those of you who have been with us for a bit or have followed kind of the process, once you find a site that meets your criteria, that you're excited about, that has all the things that we look for in a site, you want to lock it in. You want to lock it into a letter of intent, which is essentially a letter saying that you have the intention of buying the business. And the reason you want to do that is the seller's going to continue to market the site. You have a very narrow window on some of these sites to be able to acquire them. By putting a letter of intent, you're saying, I'm serious, these are the considerations, this is the value that I'm putting to the business. Let's not go through the process of doing due diligence until we've at least agreed on kind of the structure of the deal that we will put in place. So really, oral conversations, oral contracts mean absolutely nothing. Letter of intent is the first document that really starts to solidify an opportunity and a plan to purchase. Now, one thing to note is that a letter of intent is not binding by either party, right? So, the seller is obviously motivated to sign a letter of intent because they want you to do due diligence on their business. They want you to buy it. It's kind of the process. It's the way it works unless you're buying a small site for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, in which you just kind of buy it off. You don't necessarily put in the trouble of doing that much due diligence up front. But if you're going to buy anything six figures, I highly suggest you put a letter of intent together and you do the due diligence before you make the purchase. So what's in a letter of intent? So typically you've got who you are, name of the business, the assets that are up for consideration. One of my videos, I talked about the importance of an asset sale versus a stock sale. So make sure you're clear that this is an asset sale unless there's a reason that you want it to be a stock sale. And then you have to walk through and itemize the consideration. So how much you're going to pay for it, what are you doing up front versus on an earnout versus on a longer term basis, balloon payments, the whole financial structure of the acquisition of the business. You need to spell that out. And then anything that is specific that you want. So on a deal that we're putting together right now, the seller and their relationship with their audience was critical to us. So we said one of the things we want is we want the sellers to be engaged for at least a full year. So that took a bit of negotiation. They came back and said, well, what does that mean? How much time do you want us to put into it? And it allowed us to have a full conversation around what our concerns were as investors and what their concerns were as sellers. And so we were able to put down on paper, here's how much time per week, here's the kind of notice we need to give, and here's the benefit that either party will get from doing that. So letter of intent is really your opportunity to put everything on paper that you have concerns about and start the conversation and say, if I'm going to buy this business, I want these things in place. I want us to make sure that we're going to be secure and covered. So anyway, hope that helps. There are going to be sample letter of intents on the Inner Circle portal for anybody who is a member who wants to take a look at what they look like, what they should look like, what they should involve. We're always around if you need some advice on how to write one up, and we typically do that for you anyway. So just wanted you to know, and if you have any questions, let us know. Thanks.